Let me talk a little bit about the understanding that traditional Islam has had, and here we are talking not about a kind of newfangled Islam that trusts our own fallible, time-bound prejudices to interpret the Quran and the Hadith, but that is based on the accumulated wisdom and reflection and discussion over centuries of thousands of transformed souls. And everything I'm going to say in these sessions is based on the expectation that we recognize that the ulama know the Quran and the Sunnah better than we do. Another sign of the dispersal and confusion of the modern Muslim mentality and our initiation into the logic of multiplicity is that we are now trusting ourselves, and we say Quran and Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, neglecting the fact that the Quran and the Sunnah always has an interpreter, and that interpreter can either be ourselves or it can be the consensus of thousands upon thousands of great transformed souls, people who know the Quran and the Sunnah outwardly and inwardly better than we ever will. So I would say that it is a form of implicit shirk to say, I'm going to bypass the tradition and go directly to the sources, Quran and Sunnah, because it is to set up one's own judgment as being superior to the judgment of all of those others, which is an absurdity. It's probably the greatest, most pernicious error in the modern ummah to say, well, 100,000 Shafi'i ulama might have come to this position, and I'm not really going to trouble myself to read all of the thousands of books through which this position was negotiated and arrived at. I'm going to say I know better. That really is a form of pharaonic arrogance. This is not a minor error, a minor slip in our understanding of how Islamic education should take place. It's a very fundamental error. It's a Protestant error, if you like. The idea that our personal consciences are so refined and so pure that we can understand the scriptures better than earlier generations, whole armies of great purified souls. It's an absurdity. It's a form of arrogance. It's also a form of backbiting to say that the ulama simply got it wrong and that we're going to get it right. This is probably the greatest act of collective backbiting in the history of the ummah. We should be eating the dead flesh of deceased ulama, saying that they got it wrong. They were people of taqleed, they were Ash'aris, they were Hanafis, they were whatever, and we can get it right. That's backbiting. So what I'm going to say is going to be based on the certainty that our minds are infinitely more fallible than the minds of past generations of great ulama.